What do you recommend that I should get? I have coffee, I have cigarettes, and what else?
You want something for breakfast or something for lunch?
Maybe brunch.
Brunch?
Very
Perfect. So you can get 1 pain au chocolat and 1 sandwich. For the sandwich, I would advise you the Parisian. It's ham and cheese in it.
That's Parisian, typical Parisian ham and cheese and eggs.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please. S'il vous plaît. Fifth Avenue, right near Central Park in New York City, all of a sudden became Francofied one Sunday this past summer. And for good reason. The Saturday previous had been Bastille Day, France's National Independence Day, which marks the storming of Bastille prison by French revolutionaries in 1789, a turning point in the French Revolution. That Sunday, the French soccer team was competing in the World Cup finals, which France had won exactly 20 years previous. At an outdoor viewing event in New York City, I was able to interview some of the revelers, including one of the most preeminent French figures in the American imagination.
We are living here. It's temporary.
Okay.
We arrived in September.
Okay.
We are au pair, so we take care of children.
Do you think it's meant to be? Bastille Day was yesterday. 20 years ago you won.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's
amazing.
Destiny.
Yeah, it's like today it's a fate. We say that a fate.
Comment se dit fate?
Fate, destin.
Destin.
It's like it's destiny, destin.
C'est destin.
C'est le destin.
C'est le destin.
C'est le destin. C'est le destin de la France.
C'est le
Yeah.
destin de la France.
Elle est ici, elle est très très contente et je suis ici avec elle.
In English. I write in English.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm American. My wife is French.
How is France different from America?
Well, the French have a kind of a more cultural approach towards things. I've always loved France very much.
How do you feel? Like it seems like every 20 years.
Well, it's okay because we should have won in 2006. So
okay, really?
we should have won. So we lost in final.
What happened then?
Zidane decided to butt head the Italian defender and was expelled from the game.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Why? I know it's something to do with his family.
Some kind of insult, but it doesn't count. I mean, you don't lose your cool in the game. So it's like it's good 14 years later to win the game. So it's great. Really great.
Do you think it's a typical sort of French emotion to butt someone in the head?
Well, probably not, but this player had a history. In the past, he also stepped and walked on people as well. So there was a history around him. He had this tendency to lose it.
Okay. And that's not typically French.
No, we're lovely, nice, and loving people.
Where did you two meet?
So we met in India.
In India. Oh, wow. And how long have you been married?
27 years.
Now, being married to a Frenchman, is there like someone entering into a relationship with a French person? What advice can you give them?
Someone entering into a marriage with a French person.
Yes.
Oh my God, you better love your wine and your cheese and raw oysters.
Oh my goodness.
And the in-laws.
And the in-laws.
You have to love the in-laws. Come on.
What's the in-laws?
The in-laws.
In-laws.
The
Okay.
family. The in-law. The family you're joining in.
So family is very important.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Family's very
Yeah, for sure.
Really? Yeah. And how long have you been living in the United States?
20 years now.
20 years. Wow. Since 1998.
1999.
Yes, I saw the World Cup final in New York.
Really?
He was in Paris and I was here. I came to look for an apartment and it was like the World Cup final and I saw it out in Alphabet City and it was so funny because it was against Brazil and they all thought I was Brazilian. And I was like, no, yeah, you're just rooting for the French because they won.
How do you think they're celebrating in France right now?
Oh,
they're
everyone
going crazy.
is gathering around the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
And they're going to dance and sing and maybe burn a few cars. Possibly a few cars will be burnt as well.
That Frenchman was right. France's Interior Ministry reported that some 845 cars were set alight that weekend. But to be fair, burning cars is all the rage in Paris. It's so en vogue en France that news outlets hardly cover it when scores of cars inevitably get torched every New Year's Eve and Bastille Day. This very French tradition of burning cars has been adopted by the Gilets jaunes, or Yellow Vest movement, a grassroots movement whose members wear the yellow vests of roadside construction workers and that advocates for economic justice in France. In the 12th straight weekend of protests, the Yellow Vests marched through the streets of Paris on February 2, 2019, protesting police violence after two notable voices in the movement sustained permanent eye injuries because of the use of rubber bullets. Since the Yellow Vests grew out of a concern for wages, jobs, and taxation, with no specific political leanings, some believe that individual members of the movement may be enticed by far-right nationalist politicians like Marine Le Pen, who garnered a third of the vote in the 2017 election against current President Macron. The nationalist agenda, which characteristically burdens immigrants with much of the problems a country faces, may potentially find fertile soil in France, which is incredibly diverse and multicultural, with immigrants from every corner of the globe, and many from Arabic regions, a cause for rising tensions in places like Paris. The awareness of these conflicts was ever present, even during the celebrations.
I mean, it's part of the French Republican, principle and culture is, and you can see the French team. There's a lot of players, who are origins from around the world, but they grew up in France and they were adopted by our nation. So, and they're still just as much French as anybody else.
Ça dépend.
Depends.
Ouais. Il y en a qui acceptent bien et d'autres qui comprennent pas.
Some who accept and some that don't understand.
Il y en a qui comprennent pas pourquoi il y a autant d'étrangers dans les pays de France.
Who don't understand why there are so many foreigners in France. Yep.
Ils sont français, mais physiquement,
They're French.
des origines. Par rapport à leurs origines, ils sont africains ou autres.
They're French, but maybe they have ancestry from other countries. Okay. Some people understand that, but other people don't. Yeah.
On that Sunday, last summer, when France won the World Cup, the supporters of the soccer team, those who identified in some way French, were from diverse backgrounds. It is clear that there is another side to this story that isn't often reflected in discussions concerning immigration. It is a story that makes use of a lot of words beginning with C: culture, conquest, colonialism.
You're supporting France?
I am, yes. Yeah. I was born and raised in the French concession area in Shanghai.
Oh yeah?
So sort of grew up in a bit of a French experience.
This is Stanley Vlodica reporting.
Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.